She walked into the small convenience store with slow, dragging steps, like someone carrying the weight of an entire day on her shoulders. The sign outside flickered, and inside, the silence was broken only by the low sound of an old radio behind the counter. Maya held her bag tightly against her body as she moved through the narrow aisles, her eyes searching for something simple: candy. It was all her daughter had asked for that morning, with an innocent smile that still echoed in her memory. "Mom, can you bring me the strawberry one?" And even exhausted, she promised she would. But something felt off. From the moment she walked in, she sensed it. The cashier's eyes never left her. Every step she took, every item she touched, was watched with suspicion, as if her presence there was a mistake. Maya tried to ignore it. She took a deep breath, grabbed 2 packs of candy, a cheap box of chocolate, nothing unusual. But the discomfort kept growing, tightening in her chest. Until, when she glanced through the window, she saw a police car pull up right in front of the store. Her heart skipped for a second. And then, like a script she never chose to live, the cashier quickly left the counter and walked over to the officers. He spoke quietly, but pointed subtly at her. Time seemed to slow down. Maya stood still, holding the candy in her hands, trying to understand what was happening. Her tired mind struggled to process the absurdity of the situation. She hadn't done anything, hadn't said anything, and yet, when the cashier returned to his spot with a tense expression, she already knew something was coming. Still, she walked up to the counter. She placed the items carefully, trying to stay calm. "Good evening." Her voice came out low, almost breaking. Before she could even finish her sentence, the door burst open. Heavy footsteps, authoritative voices, "Hands where I can see them." The shock ran through her body like electricity. The officers approached aggressively, no questions, no explanations. One of them grabbed her arm with excessive force, while the other was already pulling out handcuffs. "What's happening?" she tried to ask, but her voice was ignored. The cashier watched in silence, now safe behind the counter. Maya was pushed against the wall, the candy falling to the ground, scattering like small pieces of dignity being ripped away right there. Customers started to look. Some recorded, others just watched. And in that moment, what she felt wasn't fear. It was humiliation. But then, everything changed. As one of the officers held her ID, his expression began to shift. The rigid look gave way to something unexpected: confusion. He looked again, then looked at her, and called his partner in a different tone. "Wait!" The other officer stepped closer, took the ID, read it, and silence took over the room. They looked at each other, clearly unsettled. The name printed there wasn't ordinary. It wasn't just any name. It was someone they had seen before. In trainings, in lectures, in reports. Maya wasn't a suspect. She was one of the city's leading civil rights advocates. A recognized attorney, responsible for multiple cases against abuse of authority, including within the police force itself. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Their posture changed. The hands that had been aggressive now hesitated. The handcuffs were removed in a hurry. "Ma'am, we..." But there were no words that could fix that moment. Maya said nothing for a few seconds. She slowly turned, looking around. She saw the stairs, the phones, the cashier, now pale, frozen, realizing the mistake he had made. She took a deep breath, holding back the emotion that threatened to overflow. It wasn't the first time, and sadly, she knew it wouldn't be the last. But this time, there were witnesses. Calmly, she bent down, picked up the candy from the floor, and placed it back on the counter. Her voice, now firm, echoed through the space. "You judged me before you knew me." The cashier couldn't respond. Neither could the officers. The silence said everything. She paid for the candy, took the bag, and before leaving, looked directly at the officers. "This is exactly why I do what I do." And then she walked out, leaving behind an atmosphere heavy with shame and reflection. Outside, the night went on as if nothing had happened. But for those inside, that moment would never be forgotten.